Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Roota.com. It is June 19th, 2025. Next week will be the last week in June. Is that right? Yep. Full week in June. And Cliff High's weekly emotional tension has a massive jump all throughout June. So as crazy as it is today, it's crazier behind the scenes. I'll be talking this weekend to private road members on at roadtoruta.com about what my take is on Trump and the good guys and bad guys fight, and is it real, is it fake? You know, what are the options behind the scenes? It's very difficult to know what's really happening. Only thing we are guaranteed is what you hear on the news is not what's really happening. So that's, it's interesting times, shall we say. Silver, let's talk silver. Just got done with a discussion with Sean at SGT Report. We talked a lot about silver. Go check that out, sgtreport.com. He'll be posting it later today on his channel. On if you're on at roadtoruta.com. By the way, if you like the Road to Ruta stuff, make sure you are on the public road updates, your free email. Make sure you get an email from me. Put your name and email address in. And I send emails out when I post things on occasion. And it's free, so go check it out. And let's talk silver. Silver is obviously under control, but we are looking at moving averages. That's all we care about. Not that we care that much. If you're into short-term moves in silver, what are the bankers going for? They're a massive short position right now. So these are the numbers. The 100-day moving average is currently at $33 right here. 200-day moving average right here at 200-day at 31. No, it looks like 32. 200-day at $32. 100-day at $31. Those are the numbers if you're looking for how. In the historical Comex rig job, they would rig it around those numbers. They dump it, they remove all the weak hands, and then have people try to cover, which covers their shorts. The problem is everybody knows about it now. Every time it dumps below that, like right here, and it has done in the past, back here, China, India, and Russia are loading up on physical silver in their own possession. And that's a problem for the bankers. Once everybody knows. And there are also some rumors of, and people have been boasting about billionaires doing the same thing, because that trade seems to be very, very, very lucrative, buying when the price goes under the moving averages. Does that mean don't buy now? Hell, I don't know. The reality is if you're looking to get a couple bucks off on your silver price, you probably do better by shopping around. If you don't have a local person, contact Andy Scheckman at Miles Franklin, info@milesfranklin.com. Say you're from Road to Ruta, he'll help you out and get you the lowest prices on the market. He's got great prices. Go check him out. Don't buy off the website. He tells everybody, don't buy off the website. If you got inside access, buy what he's got in inventory. I hear he has cheap pre-1965 coinage, which is the best. If you live in America, the best deal and the best silver to have. It'll never be confiscated or nationalized. It is the money of the United States of America. It was made by the U.S. Mint. So that's another thing. And that will come up. Nationalization and confiscation will come up as the system falls apart. Mexico will nationalize everything, and everybody nationalize it or confiscate it. Is there a difference? Yeah, there is. I think the best thing for the United States of America is to let the price of silver run to $1,000, $2,000, so that Mexico, who has 33% of all the silver that's ever mined, gets rich, and all the people who have come to the United States for a better life see all their friends at home having a better life, and they will run back to Mexico. Trump doesn't even need to buy them an airplane ticket. They would all run back to Mexico. And a lot of Americans would run to Mexico too at $1,000 an ounce silver, because they will be one of the most wealthy countries on the planet. And what about 2,000 an ounce silver? About 10,000 an ounce silver? What is the true fair market value of silver? Nobody knows because it's been rigged for so long by the same criminal cabal going back to the 1850s. So this is a very exciting time for silver. Gold, who knows what it's going to go. The bankers buy the gold. Yeah, they do. They also sell the gold if there's a collapse because they're required to sell assets. They're not going to sell silver because they have very little silver. And you got to think about that, like in cryptos. These banks that are buying all these cryptos, do you really want them to? Because in liquidation mode, they're selling those cryptos. And they're only buying Bitcoin and I hear Ethereum. But yeah, I'll get to my favorite in a second. All right. So yes, Sean and I talked a lot about the Silver Institute's lies to the people about how much silver is being used in solar. It's well above 400 million ounces this year. I would say 450. No, they aren't. There is a huge overhang of inventory, but it's not all inventory of solar panels is the same, which is what the Silver Institute is saying, because so much was made in 2022, 2023, and still being made. But those are all PERC modules, and nobody wants to install PERC modules because they're worse. They're terrible. When you look at the 30-year projection of how much, you run the analysis, the financial analysis of an investment of 30 years of solar panels. You're not going to buy a PERC module. You're going to buy a TopCon module, which is at about 1.5 more silver. So the lies that the Silver Institute has told are shocking. And when the people find out about it, I mean, just these last 2 years, 2023, and when this year ends, 2025, we're talking about they're going to miss over 400 million ounces that have disappeared. And there's other ways that they do that as well. So yeah, you cannot be trusted. The Silver Survey cannot be trusted. The Silver Institute and Metals Focus, who does it, cannot be trusted. Not that they ever could. It's just more proof. And I go over this with Sean. Look at all these every red box is a historical number that they have changed significantly. I mean, this changed the rise in silver under photovoltaics in 2023 from 76%, which was just under 400 million ounces, to 38% because they changed the historical number. It's just insane. And it should be criminal. I think it is criminal, but hey, who's going to say anything? Very interesting here. We still have a pretty strong 400 million ounce short position that's going to have to be closed out. It started here, getting closed out a little bit for the July delivery. There's only 7 trading days left. Now we've seen as it gets closer and closer to the actual delivery date, first delivery date, probably July 1st. I'm not sure. Could be the June 31st. Actually, well, July 1st, I don't know. Friday's going to be a holiday, 4th of July. My birthday, by the way, I'll be 61 on Friday, the 4th of July, a couple weeks. Woo, 61, woo. But yeah, so we'll see this get whittled down. I do expect to see somewhere between 80 and 100 million ounces. Anything over 100 million ounces is unheard of on the Comex. But we are in the middle of the largest Comex delivery year in history. You wouldn't know it by the excitement by the silver stackers because nobody's excited. They're all expecting the crash. When the price of silver goes over $50, people get excited and then they won't be able to buy any. That's why it runs so fast after 50. It'll go from $50 to $80 to $100. It's like, what the hell is happening to the price of silver? My argument, it's being freely traded. And oh, by the way, the Comex would shut down because of the short position that the banks have, which is all part of the end game. Yes, the Israeli mistake, as Cliff calls it, the Israeli mistake is happening now. It's probably, they'll probably hit, or the U.S. will probably hit the nuclear contamination mountain, and all of a sudden everything goes crazy. And everybody gets irradiated, which is part of the plan. We'll see. We'll see if cooler heads prevail. What I do know is if you hold physical silver in your possession, you'll feel the safest out of any other investment. I look at all my investments. My most safe investment I see is not real estate. Real estate is 100% dependent upon the interest rates and availability of free money. If the bankers are gone, your house is basically the value of you living in it and the wood that it completely deteriorates over time. Houses should be a depreciating asset, except that the availability of money and the value of that money has been depreciated. It's kind of the fake thing they don't tell you about the rise in housing prices. Yeah, there's supply and demand and other stuff, but without a banking system, who's going to pay what for your house? Because nobody has any money. So we will see what goes on there. It is a very big month, June, a non-delivery month. We've already looks like we've already delivered 16 million ounces in June, which is a non-delivery month, which is more than April, and then May had almost 80 million ounces delivered. I think July, if this gets over, they're still delivering, by the way, into the June contract. As you can see right here, it's little amounts, but there was 50 contracts, which is what, 225 million ounces? 25,000 ounces? 250,000 ounces. But look, there's still 68 open. So this could hit 4,000, which is 20 million ounces in a non-delivery month. And then I think that's June. And then July, I'm looking for somewhere between, I'll be happy between 80 and 100 million ounces. 70 million ounces, I wouldn't be as happy. Although, I mean, historically, 70 million ounces is massive. Anything over 80 is unheard of. Anything over 90 is, hold on to your hat. And over 100 is the world has ended for the bankers. 100 million ounces delivered on the Comex isn't even close to the record. I think the record's 83 million ounces, which we hit just recently in March. But wouldn't it be cool if we hit 100 million ounces delivered on the Comex? And then there's another delivery date in September. We gotta get him on the run. We got to keep him on the run. We got to go till you get across that goal line. Some Rudy. The Newt Rockney inspirational speech. Anyway, all right. And you might be asking, well, what is really going on in silver? How they suppress the price? One of the big ways on the physical side is J.P. Morgan, during their times of criminality from 2008 to 2014, was able to suppress the price and take all the physical silver off the market that they could get their hands on. They got 1.2 billion ounces of silver. And to put that into perspective, it is 10 times what the Hunt brothers got in physical. And J.P. Morgan had massive silver derivatives. So did the Hunts, which was the problem. And then they leased that. It's also over about a little less than 10 times what Warren Buffett took off the markets in the late 90s. So J.P. Morgan blew the top. And this is Blythe Masters doing this. When we're telling Blythe Masters she's a criminal and the wicked witch of silver. Haven't heard much from her lately. She's a silver derivative queen, and she tried to turn cryptos into crypto derivatives, and haven't heard much from her lately. Might be in jail. I don't know. Who knows? Pops her head up every once in a while. That head needs to stay down, so to speak. But yeah, so yeah, then Trump busted J.P. Morgan because Jamie Dimon tried to screw up the repo market. Was going to charge him with RICO charges, basically charged him with rigging the silver and gold markets, but only a pat on the wrist of it, $920 million. They booked a $1 billion gain in the precious metals that same year, so $80 million gain. Nice job. There's more gains on it. And then they leased all their silver to Bank of America. Bank of America took that silver, and they leased it for like 0% or even -% at times. Took that silver and either sold it for their own house, so they get basically free money because they sell the silver into the market and then obviously throw shorts on it to cover their price fluctuation, but they're going to have to pay that silver back. And then they subleased it to other banks. Wells Fargo seems to be the one on the hook right now. They keep taking delivery in the non-delivery month and then delivering big chunks of it in the delivery month. Wells Fargo is not a sophisticated J.P. Morgan or silver dealer like J.P. Morgan is. Bank of America, it's a credit play. When you lease something and then you sublease it, you better hope your credit is under Wells Fargo is good. By the way, the Fed just had to forgive or remove any constraints on Wells Fargo Bank. I think that was last month. So Wells Fargo's in trouble, Bank of America's in trouble, JP Morgan's in trouble because at the end of the day, somebody's going to end up with that silver, and most likely the people who ended up with the physical silver ain't going to sell it back in for anything less than $500 an ounce. So they're in a little trouble, and it depends on how much they have left to deliver. I think July will be a big month, and these were yearly renewals, and it made sense. I mean, if you look at the silver lease rates back in 2000, this was 2000, 2002. This is when JP Morgan was leasing the metal to Bank of America for practically free. Bank of America is getting free money. And then what happened is you have all of a sudden, when zero interest rates all of a sudden started to go up in 2022, and you have these really high interest rates. So it doesn't make as much, can you still get the metal at that cheaper price? No. So you can't, you're having a hard time leasing metal and then using the metal that's leased as payoff for the original lease. And it's getting ugly, and the rollovers are getting harder and harder. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. All right, moving on to Theta, big day, 6 days. We have the release of the hybrid edge cloud. Again, don't worry about, the crypto people won't get it. They'll never get it. They've already been left out. They will be left out forever. The tech people will get it. And when the tech money comes in, the hedge funds, South Korea gets it, by the way. You heard the guys on Theta talk about South Korea. That's where one of the main exchanges for crypto is. Let me grab this here. For Theta, Upbit. Upbit is doing about 25% of the volume. It's a South Korean exchange. It's like the number one exchange in South Korea. And South Korea gets it. And what's in South Korea? Samsung, the major partner, huge in gaming and huge in cryptos. You see Binance up here because Theta Labs partnered with Binance to get it on the largest exchange in the world. I think it was not a good idea to have Binance control their markets. It's fine. It just goes massively rigged. It'll go up, skyrocket, and crash down because Binance has so much of it, especially T-Fuel and Theta. And they started out by giving Binance a hell of a lot to post it. I think it was 90 million. I think it was 90 million T-Fuel or Theta, and they ended up with all the T-Fuel that came with it when T-Fuel came out. So lots of rigging going on. Anyway, doesn't matter. Buy as much as you can get. Hold out. Theta's the future. It's not the past. It's not the present. It's the future. We're gonna have to get through a lot of bullshit for this to roll out. And if you can run a edge node or an edge node booster, do that. Definitely stake your Theta and stake your T-Fuel, which is you get a lot more. You get like 7%, 7.1 or 6.8 right now % for staking T-Fuel, whereas Theta you get like 1 or 2%. But with a booster edge node, it gets a little complicated, but not all that complicated. It takes a little bit of investment because you need 1 million T-Fuel to have a full node running for a year. But you can earn 10, 12, probably a lot more with this new introduction of the hybrid edge cloud architecture. Now, the hybrid edge cloud architecture is all about T-Fuel. That's why I've been saying, hey, with the ratio at 21 to 1 or whatever it is, you're probably better off weighting more in T-Fuel than Theta. Theta is the governance token of the Theta blockchain, whereas T-Fuel is the operative token, the money of the system that makes it run. People will be earning T-Fuel by turning on, literally on an app on your Samsung phone to mine or to run an edge node and share your broadband, share your hard drive, share your computing capacity. That's what it's all about. It's about sharing and caring, my friends, all throughout the world. And I don't think the U.S. will ever be number one in the Theta world. Maybe, but I think the U.S. mentality in cryptos is really about chasing the next shiny object. Meme coins is an excellent example of that. And then they crash, and then you're fucked. But Theta's a long haul coin, and I think South Korea is going to be massive. I mean, it already is the number one place. If you look at where's it all being bought and sold, 25% of T fuel is being bought in on Upbit, which is the South Korean exchange. Very cool, very interesting times. So yes, I am very excited about this. It doesn't mean that Theta is. By the way, you can buy Theta now on Crypto.com, but not many people are. Like I said, U.S. investors are dumb. Crypto.com does 0.64% of the volume right here. So it's just, I mean, obviously it's just starting. People say, well, what about Coinbase? What about Coinbase? Coinbase is a fraud. They're charged way too much, and who knows what's going on with that. And they're U.S. regulated, so do you really want it? I don't know. Do you want U.S. regulations when there still isn't clarity? Hopefully there'll be clarity one day, but there isn't right now. And then we got the Reggie Middleton factor of Veritaseum coming into play that could be the massive monkey wrench that Trump was looking for, thrown in the middle of the crypto market. Whereas, if Reggie's case is thrown out, Veritaseum goes to, name your price. Cliff had passing Bitcoin. And then every other exchange, every other DeFi token at least, not everything, but DeFi, decentralized finance, will have to beg Reggie Middleton to use his patented technology. I think the SEC would probably give back the 98 million of his 100 million tokens. That way you have consistency for Reggie, if he's going to help them, to just go on from where he was before. And people also ask me when it comes to Veritaseum, what if Reggie backs out of his promise? His promise is, to offer Veri tokens that are out there that people own a discount on use of his proprietary technology. What if he backs out? I don't think he would, but even if he did, legally he's binded to it because he was selling them as a software contract. That's his whole argument in court, is that this is not a security. This is a prepaid software to use this technology. And I bought into it on purpose because it's true. The SEC had different ideas, shut him up, but the reality is I bought Reggie's prepaid software, so he owes me the use of that software. Makes sense, right? Although right now everything's on lockdown because of the SEC, and they're holding Reggie's vast fortune of 98 million Veritaseum tokens. But again, this will not happen. I don't think the U.S. government won't come to Reggie until he is needed. And when would he be needed is when the global monetary system collapses, because you'll have no exchanges. I mean, they're all rehypothecated anyway. Apple, for every share of Apple that you own, somebody owns 5 of the same shares. It's a joke. The whole thing's a mess. And that has to do with every exchange on the planet. And that's why Reggie's patent is so important. And that's how it goes from $35 to $100,000 to $200,000 to $500,000 per token. We'll see. We'll see how it all goes down. That was in Cliff's data, and he's been pretty good. Doesn't get everything right. Nobody does, and the future changes. So yeah, that'd be a big one. All right, that's what I got for you. This is Bix Weir. Currently, we're giving away 50 T-Fuel tokens loaded on a secure paper wallet with every private road subscription and renewal. You don't even have to know about cryptos. So go to roadtoRoota.com, subscribe or renew, and we will mail this, not this specific one, we will mail you a paper wallet loaded with 500 T-Fuel on it. What is the potential for T-Fuel? I think the sky's the limit, in my take. Because also, don't forget, every transaction of Theta or Theta Fuel, you burn some T-Fuel also. So it has like a 5% inflation rate, which is built into it. If everybody's using it for AI, that will be a deflation rate, and you'll have less and less T-Fuel available. So exciting times. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you later.